Ladies and gentlemen, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Comic Book Nerd. And in today's second video, we are going to preview the Odyssey. Yes, that is right. The Odyssey releases this week in theaters, and I cannot be more excited for this film. We're going to go over some reviews. We're going to talk about what happens in the book and how this will translate to the film, and also kind of set our expectations for the Odyssey that releases on Thursday. But first, if you are new to the channel, you already know what to do. Leave a like, subscribe, turn that bell on, as we do our best to post on this channel every single day. Again, this is my second video back from post-surgery, so bear with me here. If anything just kind of gets edited wrong or something like that, that is why. Still kind of getting back into the process. Tomorrow, of course, we will be back full slate, no issues whatsoever. And without further ado, let us go ahead and hop into the Odyssey breakdown. So, first of all, what we're going to do is we are going to kind of go over the full poem summary, and then we are going to, of course, talk about the reviews. Then we'll talk about what to expect for the movie. So this is kind of going to be divided into three parts. First, let's start out with the full poem summary. So this is, of course, the Homer book that a lot of people are familiar with. A lot of people read in high school or so. I myself just got done reading the book. So again, it's very much, of course, just like what happens in the book, and we're going to go over it here, kind of talk about the summary of it. So, starts off by saying, 10 years have passed since the fall of Troy, and the Greek hero Odysseus still has not returned to his kingdom in Ithaca. A large and rowdy mob of suitors who have overrun Odysseus' palace and pillage his land continue to court his wife, Penelope. She has remained faithful to Odysseus. Prince Telemachus, Odysseus' son, wants desperately to throw them out, but does not have the confidence or experience to fight them. One of the suitors, Antinous, plans to assassinate the young prince, eliminating the only opposition to their dominion over the place. Unknown to the suitors, Odysseus is still alive. The most beautiful nymph Calypso, possessed by love for him, has imprisoned him on her island, Agia. He longs to return to his wife and son, but he has no ship or crew to help him escape. While the gods and goddesses of Mount Olympus debate Odysseus' future, Athena, Odysseus' strongest supporter among the gods, resolves to help Telemachus. Disguised as a friend of the prince gardener's grandfather, Laertes, she convinces the prince to call a meeting of the assembly at which he reproaches the suitors. Athena also prepares him for a great journey to Pylos and Sparta, where the kings Nestor and Menelaus, Odysseus' companions during the war, inform him that Odysseus is alive and trapped on Calypso's island. Telemachus makes plans to return home, while back in Ithaca, Antinous and the other suitors prepare an ambush to kill him. Guys, bear with me here. I know I'm struggling with a lot of these gods' names, like a lot of you would. But again, I'm sorry. On Mount Olympus, Zeus sends Hermes to rescue Odysseus from Calypso. Hermes persuades Calypso to let Odysseus build a ship and leave. The homesick hero sets sail, but when Poseidon, the god of sea, finds him sailing home, he sends a storm to wreck Odysseus' ship. Poseidon has harbored a bitter grudge against Odysseus since the hero blinded his son. The Calypso Telemachus. Earlier in his travels, Athena intervenes to save Odysseus from Poseidon's wrath, and the beloved king lands at Syria, home of the Phaeacians, I believe. Nausicaa, the Phaeacian princess, shows him to the royal palace, and Odysseus receives a warm welcome from the king and queen. When he identifies himself as Odysseus, his hosts, who have heard of his exploits at Troy, are stunned. They promise to give him safe passage to Ithaca, but first they beg to hear the story of his adventures. Odysseus spends the night describing the fantastic chain of events leading up to his arrival on Calypso's island. He recounts his trip to the land of the Lotus Eaters, his battle with Polyphemus the Cyclops, his love affair with the witch goddess Circe, his temptation by the deadly sirens, his journey to Hades to consult the prophet Teresa, and his fight with the sea monster Cycla. When he finishes the story, the Phoenicians return Odysseus to Ithaca, where he seeks out the hut of his faithful Sinward Emmaus. Although Athena has disguised Odysseus as a beggar, Emmaus warmly warmly receives and nourishes him in the hut. He soon encounters Telemachus, who has returned from Pylos and Sparta despite the suitors' ambush, and reveals to him his true identity. Odysseus and Telemachus despise a plan to massacre the suitors and regain control of Ithaca. When Odysseus arrives at the palace the next day, still disguised as a beggar, he endures abuse and insults from the suitors. The only person who recognizes him is his old nurse Euryloca, but she swears not to disclose his secret. Penelope takes an interesting in this strange beggar and suspecting that he might be her long-lost husband. Quite craftily herself, Penelope organizes an archery contest the following day and promises to marry any man who can string Odysseus's great bow and fire an arrow through a row of 12 axes, a feat that only Odysseus and has ever been able to accomplish. At the contest, each suitor tries to string the bow and fails. Odysseus steps up to the bow and with little effort fires an arrow through all 12 axes. He turns the bow on the suitors. He and Telemachus, assisted by a few faithful servants, kill every last suitor. Odysseus reveals himself to the entire palace and reunites with his loving Penelope. He travels to the outskirts of Ithaca to see his aging father, Laertes. They come under attack from the vengeful family members of the dead suitors, but Laertes, reinvigorated his son's return, successfully kills Antinous' father and puts a stop to the attack. Zeus dispatches Athena to restore peace. With his power secure and his family reunited, Odysseus' long ordeal comes to an end. So again, that was a lot of reading, right? A lot of mistakes that I did pronouncing those names, but you guys get the main gist of it. Odysseus gets trapped on an island. He has to kind of return home, of course, by the guys helping him out, stuff like that. So that's kind of what I expect to happen in this film. And the Odyssey reviews have actually been really, really good. So let us go ahead and review this Odyssey reviews, because there's about 3 of them that I do want to talk about. The 3 that I want to talk about are from Discussing Film, Variety, and Eric Davis. Discussing Film says, now that the social embargo is up, I could say that Samantha Morton's sequence in the Odyssey is perhaps the best of the entire film, and we're going to be talking about it for years to come. If you know, you know. Nolan tapping into a side he really hasn't shown before. Up next is from Variety. I have seen Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey and is an astonishing achievement, a triumph, spectacular, epic. The performances from Tom Holland, Matt Damon, Anne Hathaway, John Leguizamo, Robert Pattinson, and Lupita Nyong'o are genuinely grand, and for some truly the best performances of their career. Finally, Eric Davis stating, Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey is an absolute triumph and a crowning cinematic achievement from one of the great filmmakers of our time. The production design is incredible, the action is breathtaking, and the scale is unlike anything he's done before. What really surprised me is how much he embraces horror. They go on like that for a long time. The true test will be audiences and the box score, but as first impressions go, without question, they could not be better. So those are kind of the few first impressions for the Odyssey. I know we just did a recap of the Odyssey, but these are the first reactions for the film. A lot of praise from Christopher Nolan, right? There's been a lot of controversy regarding, I believe, Athena, what she looks like in the film and stuff like that. I'm not going to comment on any of that, but there's been a lot of controversy regarding the Odyssey, and I'm very curious to see how Christopher Nolan is going to handle it this week in the press. With that being said, what to expect from this film? We can expect some very horror-esque vibes, right? Christopher Nolan, we've kind of seen it in the teaser trailers and whatnot, where, of course, the Odyssey looks very, very horrific. We also seen in the teaser trailers that the story is just absolutely insane. We've seen the dialogue from these actors. They go beyond measure. So, again, what to expect from this film? A good film overall. I think it's going to be fantastic. I hope it is not like Disclosure Day, where we had Steven Spielberg direct the whole thing. The trailers actually made the film look absolutely amazing, and then the ending just kind of stunk. I really hope that's not what this is like. I hope that this Odyssey is the best of course, movie that Christopher Nolan has done. I hope this is best for Tom Holland, Anne Hathaway, Matt Damon, Zendaya, John Bernthal. This cast is stacked, guys. I cannot wait for this film, and I truly am excited to see this movie in IMAX. If you guys don't know, I will be seeing it in IMAX on Saturday, and of course Pensacola, so I cannot wait for that. But the Odyssey, the first reviews are out. That is kind of just the overall summary and what to expect from this film. I'd expect it to be dark. I'd expect it to be very, very delicate in dialogue, meaning there's going to be a lot of really good dialogue scenes, and I also expect just overall a good time with this film. 3 hours, cannot ask for anything much more than that. But you guys, let me know your thoughts on this in the comments down below. How excited are you for the Odyssey? Please let me know in the comments down below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, turn that bell on, as we do our best to post on this channel every single day. We are back with videos, ladies and gentlemen, tomorrow. Not too sure what we'll talk about, but we will definitely find something. Hit the sub button, leave a comment down below if you are into Marvel, Star Wars, DC pop culture. We talk about all of that on the channel. Thank you all so much for watching this video. I will see you all in the next one. Peace.